can. I don't care.
Cool.
I guess we'll just introduce ourselves, say we're from this and this, and
we're live.
Oh, cool. Hey, you're welcome, Guardians. How are you? Name's Real DP. This is
Mardik. How's it going?
We are both part of the Bulletheads clan. We are I guess you could say our PvP mains. I'm on PC. Arctic here is on Xbox. I would definitely say Arctic's the better of us too. But we're just gonna, talk about a little bit of the state of the Crucible, stasis, just our thoughts and feelings on the meta, trials, big one, and probably skill-based matchmaking today. Arctic?
Yeah, absolutely. So this podcast is aimed at the whether you're casual or not in Crucible and you just enjoy playing some PvP. It's all brought to you by Kaiju Labs Media and Bulletheads. So hopefully you guys enjoy. So we can get going.
And as we're saying, let's go. So
let's go.
The state of the Crucible. What are you feeling right now, honestly? And let's see if we match how we both feel.
I actually feel like the gun meta is in a pretty solid spot. However, the ongoing topic is that the state of Crucible is still too abilities heavy. And that's a lot of that has to be contributed to stasis, unfortunately. But even so, in the light subclasses, some of those abilities just kind of supersede everything else.
I would highly agree. I had this discussion earlier with a few people. Stasis, like, I'm not sure what Bungie was thinking, and I'm pretty sure they've heard that a lot. Not necessarily a negative way of what they were thinking, but you have a game that is based around movement, more movement than I guess you could say most games out there, excluding probably Warframe.
Yeah, maybe.
And you throw in a mechanic that literally halts all movement. So it's in the game. We're gonna have to deal with it. We recently had a round of nerfs. I personally don't think it was enough, but it is a good start for sure. I would say probably the most annoying mechanic is the slowing. Would you agree?
I would mostly agree. So speaking stasis wide, absolutely the slow effect. And even just being outright frozen sucks. It is the antithesis of what makes Destiny so good and so fun next to the gunplay. But for me personally, the biggest sticking point is Withering Blade getting slowed. And I guess just slow in general and the accuracy debuff that you get.
I've been playing because, I mean, we're both hunter mains. You're a hunter / warlock. I used to be a Titan main. Well, I wouldn't say Titan main, but I did, Titan for a while. I've always been a hunter main since D1. I know we're both D1. Well, what's going on, Annie? So we both understand how hunters work and how movement is our best thing, but I've been doing Titan a lot more. And yes, you can call me whatever you want to call me. I put on stasis to try to see what the big hype was about. One, I don't like the super at all. It was broken, but it's kind of clunky in my opinion. I will say the slide mechanic and the melee mechanic for movement is absolutely top tier. It is amazing to give Titans, something like that. I will say that, the whole slide into a wall of ice is kind of one of those I'm frozen and I can't do anything about it things, and that right there for me alone makes me not want to use stasis on Titan. So to do research, I had to be toxic and use stasis, and I would think a majority of the Crucible of I guess you could say the more skilled players don't want to use stasis.
Yeah, well, and stasis has almost become taboo at this point where, yes, you might be a really good player. You might have really good shots, but if you're crutching on stasis, somebody's always going to bring that up in an argument. Yeah. I saw something on Twitter. I think it was from Pigeon, and he wasn't pretending to be a armchair dev, but he had mentioned that you have to work within the constraints of what your game and your engine allows you to do. And so obviously stasis sucks for a lot of design reasons, but even on the technical side, you look at something like Behemoth Slide, and you look at tick rates, and you look at connections, and you know, it feels so odd that you're not able to really do anything about a Titan sliding at you so quickly. And so I mean, even like the melee, being able to melee so quickly around everything, you can't react. It's physically impossible to react for a various amount of design and technical reasons. And it just feels odd that anything like this would get past QA and be allowed into the game. And I mean, we're 6 months into it now. It's odd that more hasn't been done.
Would you say that a game mode without stasis would be a good thing or a bad thing?
Yes. Me being as biased as I am against stasis, I would love it. But at the same point, Bungie spent a considerable amount of hours, time, and money to implement all these changes and abilities and systems. It's not going to get put off to the wayside because a few people got upset about it. It's just not going to happen.
So without a guns only mode, which I really want, no abilities at all, no nades, no nothing, just guns only. And I know a lot of people call for that. I don't even care if there's a Telesto in there, a Bastion in there. I don't care. Guns only would be great. But seeing how we're not going to get any of that, how would you say we could tune stasis a little more? Because they even said that this is just the first round of stasis tuning. So what do you see maybe in the near future, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So just to bring up what Any had said in the chat here, he said SWAT. And SWAT is a game mode from Halo. It is a no radar, one headshot kill kind of game mode. And we kind of had that in Momentum Control to a much lesser extent. But you know, there's nothing wrong with having more game modes, unless of course the population is not there to support those game modes, and then you just end up splitting the very little population you have into too many different playlists. To get back on topic, I think some more changes that need to happen. The accuracy debuff when being slowed needs to go away. I think that is my. I already said the biggest sticking point was Withering Blade, but Withering Blade is a symptom, or I guess the accuracy debuff is a symptom of that and just slowing in general. And I would win a significant portion more of my fights against stasis users if I wasn't being slowed every 5 seconds still, and having that happen.
Hey, how's it going, Broken? You're welcome to our stream. So I guess after I haven't used stasis at all on Warlock. I'm not a Warlock player unless I'm in PvE. I try to use top tree Dawnblade, say like Iron Banner this week. I did play as that. I have been doing Chaos Reach. I will say that is probably one toxic loadout, and I'm glad it's getting nerfed. It needs to be nerfed. Enjoy it while it lasts. But stasis is, I would say, the strongest. Probably have to say yes on the hunter, just because of like you say, it's the Withering Blade. Thus, I can get hit by it, and I know I'm on their head when they're just standing there, laughing at me, haha, you're slowed, and it still doesn't land. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm sitting still, I'm on your face, and it's still not landing. That's a hell of an accuracy debuff.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's not even fair.
No, and that's the biggest issue with a lot of people who actually play, who want to play and enjoy the game. And I know a lot of people, are like, well, if you don't like the game, leave. Well, that's not the point. It's not at all. I wouldn't say I grew up, but I've come from day one like you with this game and seen it in its heyday in D1. And everyone brings up D1, and anyone who hasn't played doesn't understand how good D1 PvP really was. It was, I would say, it was more guns than ability. Like if you had the gun, you had a chance, you know, and if you had skill and lesser guns, you had even more of a chance. So, but stasis, I'm not sure how they'll tune it. I really don't. I have no idea unless they take the slowing effect away, but that's not going to happen.
I mean, they can't. I'd hate to say that I'm okay with being slowed, but the accuracy debuff, and then, like I said earlier, some of the more technical issues that stasis brings, particularly with Behemoth Titan and the slide, it just the tick rate and the connection there is not conducive to how that works. So slowing that down, ironically, is best. And then obviously the Warlock being rebuffed to its state, basically, where they launched that Beyond Light. The worst thing about stasis in general is that you, as a player, feel like you have to use stasis in order to counter stasis, and that never feels good.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. And it's like, a Potanch, welcome to the stream. He just said, I remember, Grenaded, Jake always doing streams and clutching 3v1s in D1. Well, you can't do it anymore. And you're absolutely right, Pod. He's also a member of Bulletheads. You can't do it anymore. Like, so do you feel that stasis is more geared towards the casual player to give, or not, I wouldn't even say casual, I would say the lesser skilled players to give them a chance?
If that was the design point that Bungie came to, give something, my favorite saying is a no thumb Billy, an opportunity to get some free kills in Crucible.
Yeah.
Sure, but then you have game modes like your Glory playlist or like Trials that will always bring out the worst in your sandbox no matter what. So even these really good players are going to use it.
Yeah, I watch the top players. I do. And, I've learned a lot because they just, they're good. So it's their job, basically.
Yep.
And they all use stasis, every single one of them. And I get it. You're tired. I was at that point not too long ago in our Discord. I was like, screw it. I'm just going to use stasis. And I still couldn't bring myself to do it. I don't know why. But because it's not my job to give good gameplay and laugh at people, and I have a hard time using it. I have a hard time bringing myself to get that cheap of a kill and kind of lesser myself, if you want to say it that way. Like, I'm not saying anything bad about people who are using stasis, although I could. But at the same time, it's a bane. Yes, it is a crutch. If you're not good enough to use your weapon, and you have to slow me or freeze me or anything like that to kill me, you are definitely crutching. And after using the Stasis Titan in Iron Banner for one day, I felt empowered. I felt like I was addicted to the long, Titan movement slide, to, the freezing effect, to, like, I can go in midair, turn, do the melee in midair, and get right behind him. The movement is addicting.
And that's sorry to interrupt, but that's the one thing about stasis that feels really good is that, maybe outside of Warlocks, it has some of the best neutral game movement in Crucible, and it is so addictive and it is so fun, and it makes you think why light subclasses aren't just brought up to that level to have some sort of ability to give those other subclasses a boost, so that you're not felt like you're pigeonholed into using stasis just for the neutral game.
So do you think Bungie thought of this? Like, we know stasis is going to be this broken. We know it. They have 200 to 300 people or more in their company, and they've even said not everyone even knows in that company what's going on either in the PvE or P side. So you have a few testers testing out, and they're having fun, and it's their game. Cool. But, they throw it out into the wild with, I think you said this the other day, millions of millions of people, and you're going to see. And I feel it's not a good reception by the community.
No, and again, not to be an armchair dev, but you're going to get all of your testing done when it's in the open. You know,
Yep.
you can't rely on a few dozen people to do testing. And I mean, they said at the beginning of Beyond Light that they're going to launch everything super powerful
Yep.
and bring it back, which is fine. But the Warlocks got hit immediately, and
Immediately.
then nothing was done about Hunters and Behemoths for months. And we just got our first round of nerfs against them, and then they buffed Warlocks almost to the point where Warlocks are way over the top too.
I was a little confused by that, but I was like, okay, I mean, it's what we got.
Yeah, absolutely.
The light subclasses. I know we've been talking about stasis for a hot minute. The light subclasses, real quick. I've always had this confusion, and maybe you can solve it for me because you are both a warlock and a hunter person. Warlock top tree downblade has a 5-second cooldown on a double Icarus dash, correct?
Yep.
Okay. But hunters have 1 dodge unless they put on an exotic, and it was 9 seconds. Okay, cool. I don't feel that was too bad of a cooldown because it works well with 1 exotic.
Right.
And yes, you could say the 6 Coyote, but Dragon Shadow and the Wraith Metal Mail.
Yep.
So why on earth would they take it out to 11 seconds? You nerf the dodge, but not touch the Icarus dash, which I feel is more broken.
Because Bacchus, and it, that is the only thing I could think that would cause them to nerf the dodge even more. Is strictly because of Bacchus.
Okay, well, Bacchus basically has a double cooldown.
Yep.
So why nerf something that's going to already nerf your dodge?
Well, and you have to think it was a 9-second cooldown originally before it got nerfed, and if it's only double that, that's still only 18 seconds versus the 22 or 23 that it is now. So ultimately, it's still only a 5-second cooldown.
Sure.
Or a 5-second nerf. But again,
do you feel it's justified?
I don't feel like it's justified.
I don't think so either.
No. So, and
would you tune the Icarus dash?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I feel like that has so much utility in making some really good players even faster to the punch that it could use a nerf. It could use a few seconds nerf. I'd be totally okay with that.
I hate to say even the word nerf because of the amount of nerfs this game has gotten, but Bungie kind of does it to themselves by, like, I feel right now I've gone against a lot of Dead Man's Tale, and I'm on PC. So when you go against the catalyst that's on it with a mouse, it's deadly accurate, and it's too fast that I can't even get my super popped. Like, I'll pop it before they see me. They turn, boom, boom, boom. I'm dead before it even gets off. Now, you made a good point. The other day, when we were talking, you said, let them have it. It's powerful. It's this, it's that. Cool. I went back. I thought about it. They're probably going to nerf it at some point.
Yep.
Just like they retuned one of my favorite hand cannons is the last word. So yeah, I get it.
Let the new stuff be fun. Let it be powerful, but address it in a timely manner. And I feel like they started off really well with Beyond Light, getting the updates pushed out very quickly, addressing things very quickly. And I feel like the priority on new content, I mean, obviously we want more stuff, but the priority in putting that forward over tuning some stuff at the same time, the priorities are a little mismatched there.
All right, so let's go to the thoughts of the Crucible. Let's get off subclasses for a minute, because I know I could talk for a while on subclasses. But you posted something in our Discord that I had no clue. I knew we hadn't had it in a long time, but I didn't think it was over 500 days that we haven't had an original map.
Yeah, that's absolutely. And the last one was
we've gotten old maps.
Yeah, so over the course of last year, we got Cauldron back, which is cool. but I think it was like officially 530 some days since we've gotten a brand new map introduced into the game. We're talking almost 2 years since
of
we've gotten a new map.
Yeah. And, as much as, PvP gripes, I'm just going to say one word, Gambit. And that's not what we're here to talk about, but Gambit is
they're in the same spot. I mean,
if not worse.
Yeah, no, I mean, they only had, 4 or 5 maps to begin with, and they removed one of them. And, we lost about half of the PvP maps that, they removed some really bad maps, which is great. But then they removed a couple really good ones too that could have been nice to have around.
Yeah.
And you really feel it in Trials, and when you're playing Trials and you're playing the same 3 maps over the course of an entire season.
So do you think with skill-based matchmaking, coming back, that we're going to get more, or is it just going to be like, hey, here's your skill-based matchmaking back, you're still going to get the same old maps?
I mean, they haven't given us any indication that their renewed focus on PvP is going to pan out at all.
I haven't seen any evidence of that. Like maybe a small thing here and there with like the stasis nerfs, but the renewed PvP, which is really memey on YouTube right now. Like, where's the renewed focus? Where's this, that, and the other that you said a year ago, right? It was a year ago. And what have we seen? You took half the maps away and you gave us a subclass that freezes everybody.
Yeah,
so
that's not
half
really...
the maps and more toxicity.
Right, and that's the most frustrating part is, when the game gets dry, and it happens every season.
Like right now.
Right now, there's a stretch of time where the game will be dry. PvP used to be that safe haven where it's like, even though I'm playing on the same maps, there's a sense of unpredictability there that allows us to enjoy that constantly. And it's just not possible right now. And going kind of leaning into the skill-based matchmaking thing, DMG posted yesterday or 2 days ago saying that the adjustments that they tried to make in Iron Banner were not active across the game, but I can prove, and many people can prove, that there is some sort of skill-based matchmaking in place right now that has changed recently. I mean, you're not playing scrubs anymore. Every game is very close. Every game is very try-hard.
Yes.
And it's been like that for a couple weeks, and it feels like there's either a bug going on or we're being lied to again.
I've definitely noticed, and it's over on PC, the cheaters run rampant.
Yep.
And you can just look at their Steam profile and know, and you can pull up Trials Report, just like we all do. Everyone, sees the videos that the YouTubers put out and all that, things like that. And I encounter the same things. I just leave. When I know, someone is tracing me through a wall, like I'll be dead in Elim and I'll watch. Dude is all the way across, buddy mine Squirrel is all the way across the entire map of Twilight Gap. And that's kind of a longer map.
Yeah.
And I'm in the middle. He literally steps on my bubble and turns the entire time, and
you can watch him
go all the way through. Yeah. And the moment he jumps up, boom, he's dead. Yep. I'm like, I know you're not on the radar from that distance. So, I run into it a lot. You see the videos, but it's just we need the anti-cheat big time. I know over on console, it has the DDoSing gotten any better?
Yep. Yeah. So, nobody's been getting DDoSed, and I got DDoSed fairly often playing Trials a few months back. I haven't been hit once, which has been fantastic.
Nice.
It feels more secure and safer to play the game that you want to play. Doesn't mean it's any more fun than it was, though.
Right. So we're into Trials. So Trials is rough. Trials is, I feel it's withering away. It's
antiquated.
it's gotten to the point to where the only people that go in for any reason, you'll have, say, when the Igneous was 3 wins, you had a healthy trial, pools. Trials had a healthy pool of people. It was nice. It was great. So with trials being the way it is, I would say one of the biggest issues is loot incentive. In a shooter game, give me a reason to go in there and either get my ass kicked or to go in there and actually sweat.
Yep.
And do well. So would you agree loot is the main issue?
I would agree that it is a huge contributing factor as to why Trials is not succeeding. Yeah. And you look 3 weeks back when Igneous was 3 wins, and that was a great weekend because you had it was the highest population of any weekend in Trials in all of Destiny 1 or 2, and that it was just over 405,000 people.
Yeah, which is kind of sad.
Yeah, it is really sad. But when you stick the best loot in a playlist or a game mode that requires the most amount of time and effort to get that loot and skill, absolutely, it makes it tough to want to go do anything because it's such a mixed bag. Because if the map is bad, not many people are going to play. If the loot isn't there, no one's going to play except for the people that do their weekly carries and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And it's so tough. And I don't think the elimination game mode is the way to help that anymore either. And I feel like the population numbers might not support my argument, but looking back at early D2 year 1 Trials of the 9, that game mode had something there.
Yeah, I completely agree. I didn't play much of it. I had IRL stuff going on, but the little bit that I did play, it felt good. It felt great.
And you could get loot frequently, even if you weren't even playing the game mode, because it went straight to your clan engrams too.
So what I didn't understand was kind of the nerf, I guess you could say, to the token system. Mm-hmm. You get your first win, you get 1 token.
Yep.
And it takes 20 to turn in a package to get hopefully somewhat of a decent roll of something you unlocked. Now, they added if you go in and you do the bounty, you can still turn in tokens. Great. That was a good step in that might get people in for, look, I love how the gear looks, and that's what this is on the 3 win. But then it also promotes with the bad, loot incentive, the bad token system, and just bad. Yeah. That promotes win trading, that promotes cheating, that promotes bad gameplay. It's not good. I'm not sure what they're going to do, and if they say they're going to take it away, even though they said, oh, it's back for good, but we've heard a lot of things like that before.
Yeah, that is Bungie. And to answer your question, Putty, I'm sorry to interrupt. So his question was, wait, Trials hasn't always been an elim mode. Trials, when it first came out to Destiny 2, was Trials of the 9, and it was based around the Countdown game mode. I believe they even there was one other mode, but basically it was objective focused and less about the kills. Obviously, if you got killed, you could be revived, but the emphasis was running to the middle of the map and trying to capture the point versus, playing very slowly around the map.
Which was very fun, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was extremely fun. Yeah. I don't know how they're going to fix Trials. I know you can't just throw a bunch of loot at it and say that's going to fix it, because people are going to still get tired of going in there. I know the survival playlist is not fun anymore either. Yeah. I used to love it. It's like when things got dry. Even though I'm not a big PvE person, I've always said I do just enough PvE to get the stuff I need for PvP.
Yeah.
And no, I'm not a top player. I'm not an elitist or none of that. I enjoy PvP, and I'm half decent at it. So it's something I could go into. I could go 5,500, even at skill based matchmaking. It was a challenge, and it was fun to improve myself. Not everyone's like that though. They want a walk in the park. It's like, oh, I don't want to go into PvP because it's tough.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this ends up wrapping back to stasis being the instant gratification subclass, and getting your abilities immediately and getting easy kills with it. Unfortunately, stasis kind of has its hand in everything, and why everything is feeling less fun for sure, but it's not as gratifying to play.
Well, it's like they said in chat. Can't remember. It's up there, but I want to say Any said that it slows down the gameplay, and it really does for any kind of competitive gameplay, because now, I mean, and I know everyone has noticed, and it's been said a bunch, but people wait for their abilities to come up before they engage, and it's always mainly stasis users. They will wait for that freezing nade. They'll wait for their Titan melee. They'll wait and wait and wait and wait, and it's very different. I don't mind playing passive, but when you're playing passive just to get your abilities because you don't have the skill, makes it very frustrating.
It's frustrating. It feels cheap, and it doesn't feel earned. And I'll go back on this example. Earlier this week, I love doing my 1v1s. Whether you're using stasis or not, I will always 1v1 somebody if they're up for it, because it allows me to look at my gameplay and attempt to get better at it, even if it's against stasis. And unfortunately, this player from Bulletheads, he's no longer in the clan. He left recently. But that's all he would do. He would sit farther away and not challenge anything, because I love my frozen orbit. It's very difficult to challenge that, but he would wait for all of his abilities to come up. Then he would use his Withering Blade, or he would use his his grenades or whatever, even his Shatter Dive. That was something that he was crutching on very heavily, and that made the game so much more close than it would have been otherwise.
Right. So I like where the gun balance is. I do. I think the reining in of the 120s is going to be a good thing. They're fun. I love my 120s, especially my steady hand. Love steady hand. Do I feel it reaches in ranges it shouldn't? Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I don't mind the nerf that they're bringing. I don't think it's too much. I don't think it's too little. We'll just have to see how it pans out. But as far as overall gun balance, I've seen a lot of different things. I've seen more nade launchers, annoying, but it's not as bad as Mountaintop was. I've seen more Telesto. I've seen more fusions. I've seen more of everything, and it's been nice. It's been really nice because it forces you to not go against the meta. While albeit it's very frustrating to go against, say, like a full team of Titan's Ramparts just shooting through their shields,
right?
Which I dealt with the other day in Iron Banner. We still won, but it was extremely annoying that you have something that can protect you and you can shoot through it, and you can literally do nothing about it but wait. And if you want to nerf something, nerf the cooldown of a shield, of a Titan shield. You get it every 10 seconds at 100 resilience, and if you're any kind of a Titan main, you're going to run 100 resilience for the most part.
Yep, absolutely. So, and I mean, it's still Destiny. There's still going to be things that are going to be crutched on, things that are still going to be used that are annoying.
Unbalanced.
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be something, but nothing. I don't think there's ever been a meta in the history of at least Destiny 2 that has felt as bad as Stasis does. I mean, we've gone through the one-eyed mask meta, we've gone through the auto rifle meta, we've gone through quite a few different things, and it felt like you still had a chance then.
Yep.
Less so now.
Graviton Lance meta. Yeah, I remember when Lance, what was it? We have the Graviton Lance meta. We had
the Mida meta
the
early.
Mida meta. There's a bunch of different metas, all of which were holy crap. Especially, I would say Lord of Wolves and the Prometheus Lance.
Yep.
Probably
and
two of the worst.
You look at stuff like Mountaintop and Recluse.
Yep.
All of it annoying, absolutely terrible stuff.
But still manageable.
But you could still do something about it.
Yes.
And
stasis, you can do nothing.
Yeah. Other than use stasis.
Do we have anyone, or Pod or Broken or Ronj, anyone in the chat, anyone you're watching right now, are you a stasis user? If you are, comment in the chat, why you like stasis. Is it because you're less skilled, or you think it's just, really kind of like, a funny thing to do is to freeze someone and this, that, and the other? Like, if you don't
do you feel like you are obligated to use stasis because everyone else is using stasis, and it's a struggle to try and get anything done that way?
If it's too sweaty, then I feel skill-based matchmaking can kind of solve that a little bit. But then you get up, like, you've improved your game, and you're like, okay, cool, I've improved my game. Now you're all of a sudden your game's got really hard, and there's even more stasis and even more sweaty people, and you think, well, there is no skill-based matchmaking. Well, you've improved by using stasis. Now you're in a different upper echelon.
Yep.
Right. So, but you don't realize it because there's no way to tell.
Mm-hmm.
So then that immediately makes you think, so then your games get easy. That's the bad part about skill-based matchmaking, is it makes you feel good and then knocks you back down.
So my biggest issue with skill-based matchmaking, it's the same issue I had with Halo 5, is that you don't always want to be playing like you're playing for $100,000. There are times where you want to go in and you just want to bullshit with random weapons and different loadouts with people. Even going into a full stack of Iron Banner and just using Sweet Business, just being annoying, just having fun.
Yeah.
Skill-based matchmaking doesn't allow you to do that.
So we had a number of comments, and okay, so Mystery Lady is the leader of Bulletheads, and her and I just did a vault cleaning of 500 items, and and I had to set her up with a general PvE build and a general PvP build. Now, being she has real life things going on, she hasn't been able to play much, and it kind of opened my eyes to what stasis can do for people who don't get a chance to play as much as said you and I. So she mentioned a good point, and I actually put stasis on for her, and I told her, I was like, I hate to tell you to use stasis, but with the armor that she had and the stats that I wanted to work with, I had to have her use stasis to get the extra resilience, the extra recovery, and things like that. So things like that incentivize you to use stasis, where you can get more recovery, you can get more resilience, and we know you always want it.
Yeah.
So it's good for people like Mystery that couldn't really get on a lot. Gavin likes to have fun with it. Just have fun in stasis and mayhem, which I have no problem in mayhem. It's not a huge competitive mode. It is a fun game mode to go in and just blow off steam, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Another thing you mentioned here was Bacchus. Bacchus is a very strong exotic, in my opinion. I like using Bacchus. I used it, and
anything for neutral game movement.
Right, and it was amazing, but it's tied to stasis only. So I know Bungie wants stasis to be dominant because it's new. They put a lot of hours into it, like you said, developing it and everything. So of course they're going to put stuff towards it. It's a deterrence, but I stopped using it. It made combat boring. See, Annie used it, and then it got boring for him.
Yeah.
He's like, well, it got really slow. It's not fun anymore.
And for me, even though I'm an asshole and I will call people out for using stasis, Me personally, if you have any time to practice anything in Destiny PvP, doing it the hard way will benefit you in the long run. And knowing the way that Bungie does things and the way that they nerf things, even though it's powerful now, it'll get touched up, it'll get adjusted, and then when it does eventually get nerfed,
Yep.
You'll be in a worse spot than you were to begin with.
Because you have lost all the skill that you earned before stasis. I 1000% agree, and I've been saying the same thing to people. I'm like, if you use stasis and you get used to it, the nerfs are coming. They always do. And when you cannot crutch on that anymore, you're going to be in a lower spot than you were before you started using stasis.
Yeah.
Now, there is a good point here that Ron's made. I don't see why light subclasses can't have the same system. It's true. Why can't our abilities be like, what's the one nade that they just nerfed? I can't remember now. The big bubble. Yeah. So the big dust field nade. Why can't a light subclass have something like that? Say make the solar subclass. If you walk through it, you burn. Yeah. Like inside the Cabal bubbles, you're gonna take burn damage. So it's a very good thing, and they said that they're gonna tune the light subclasses. So we're gonna have to see.
Yeah, and in that point specifically, that gets more to the root of the problem as well about elements in Destiny in general. I mean, right now there's no point to your elements for anything outside of PvE, match game, arc to arc, void to void, solar to solar. If it was, and I hate to say this, if it was something like Anthem, where you use these to apply debuffs or apply buffs to yourself, maybe there's something else there. When they say that stasis is going to be coming into legendary guns, in season 15 and forward, all that means is that enemies are going to have stasis shields right now. Yes. That means nothing to me as a PvP player.
So we've seen kind of a shift, or not a shift, I'm sorry, a hint of a probably future subclass, corruption possibly, with a lot of poison. I feel that should have been before stasis. If they had it in the works, I feel that would be absolutely very welcomed with Thorn and the necrotic grips. I love that combination that they allowed Thorn to work with the necrotic grips. I like that they chose a weapon and an exotic to work together in such harmony, instead of an exotic and a super. Like I would like to see more of that. I think that would make PvP a little more fun and interesting. Although you don't see it because it's not dominant, it was a good idea, if you could say.
Yeah, absolutely. So, again, if anyone sees me on Discord and they see me calling people out for using stasis, it's because I believe people can better themselves in PvP rather than stooping to a lower level. So don't hate me for that. I'm just an asshole.
Me too. It's like my good friend Maddie just said earlier to me. We were having a conversation. And I know we're live, but I have 0 Fs to give. I won't say the word, but I have 0 Fs to give. So if you see me using stasis, more than likely I am doing my own research just so I can talk about it here. And typically I don't use stasis unless we're in a 1v1, we're all having fun, and we say, let's all put on stasis and just go nuts. But even then, it's like, okay, most of us go, this is getting kind of boring. Let's go back to what we were doing. Throwing knives, Athrus's embrace, things like that make epic moments. I bounced it off 2 walls and hit you in the head. That was crazy. I'm going to clip that. How many stasis clips do you have? Hey, I froze you and then I shot you.
I think I have one from one Trials match very early when the Shatter Dive was just really coming onto the scene, and getting a triple kill in Trials with it. And I think that's the only clip I ever clipped where I use stasis abilities to do stuff like that. And as cool as that is, it's still very cheap. It's not something that you would really want to brag about. It's like, oh shit, look at this. Look what happened.
Right.
That's kind of cool.
So
you know?
so here's being that I love to watch Twitch YouTubers, okay? And I'm not gonna mention any names, but I've gotten so bored of watching them use stasis that I've unsubscribed. I have stopped watching them, and I'm watching one of my favorite and most entertaining, Warzone streamers. And I barely play Warzone.
Yeah.
I like Warzone, but I've gotten bored with the stasis using because it's the same thing. Oh, I jumped in the air. I threw a shuriken around a corner that's going to track you, and then I'm going to rush and kill you. That's not fun to watch.
It's not interesting.
No, it's not. Not at all. Not in my opinion.
Yeah.
Some people may love it, and judging by their viewers, hey, you can't argue. They got to do what they got to do to make their money. I understand. But for any kind of sweat player that has, I guess you could say, any dignity, or just anyone, at all. Like, if you don't care about PvP and you just want to go in and do it and you're going to use stasis, I understand. I do. I really do. PvP is our thing, and we have our own standards, and people aren't always going to meet those standards, so I don't set any kind of expectations when I go into PvP. Hell, I love to use Telesto, and it has no range fall off. Come on. But stasis is a whole nother animal. And I know we keep getting back to stasis, but it's that much of a problem, I think, for PvP in general. I think stasis has driven out a large portion of the PvP community.
Yep.
Because once the PvPers go to PvE, they get tired of the game because PvE is kind of boring. Even doing hard content like Grandmaster, you know where the enemies are. Yeah. You know where the enemies are. You know how to counter it. You know everything to do. You just got to do it. Yeah. So it's I don't know, for a PvP mindset, it's not fun. It's not exciting. It's not different. So,
and at this point, the only gratification I get from PvP is, destroying kids that use stasis. I think they're God's gift to PvP with non-stasis abilities.
And he makes a great point. Stasis has the problem that there aren't that many strategies to combat it. There's really no way to combat stasis at all, almost. And because of that, there is no reason to innovate because you can't challenge. Like, so if you're going to throw a shuriken all the way across the map at me, sniping's almost, and with the flinch that is now on snipers, holy cow. Like, it definitely makes it hard to snipe. Not impossible, but harder. I'm not scared to challenge a sniper at all anymore with, say, like a 120 or a V-wing or anything that is any kind of distance, which I think you should be. You should have a healthy respect for a sniper, and I think that respect's gone. So you're seeing more aping. I know I've aped a lot lately, and while it is fun to get in there and get going and it's got the blood pumping, I do like to sit back and snipe every now and then because I get great satisfaction out of just that one shot, one kill.
Yep, absolutely. And I guess since we have a few more minutes, we can quickly touch on thoughts on quick draw and some of the nerfs to shotguns in general and 120s. Okay. Yeah. So what are your thoughts on it?
I think the quick draw nerf is, I would say it's warranted. I have a surplus opening shot, Astral Horizon, and I've been using a blue Botheration Mark 28 because it's better. I did some testing the other day with a buddy of mine. It hits consistently at the top of 7 meters. 8 meters on the nose or just over won't kill instantly. Granted, you can only get it at 1300, but it's still, if you're just going into regular PvP, it's still better than an opening shot Astral.
And technically, you could still run it in trials because only having one item that is at the cap
1300. Yep.
won't hurt you very much.
Nope. And
I mean,
it's not a meta shotgun in the least. It's an aggressive. It has very little range. I like auto loading on it. I do. But because of the absolute giant length and full screen barrel that is on it, it gives it that Panama ravine feel, and it hits. It is an aggressive frame. It hits at Fellwinter's range. It hits at Astral Horizon range. So I've been telling people, go grab your botheration. If you see it drop at 1300, put it on.
Yeah.
So
and like Naranj just said too, hold on to your toil and troubles because that could very well come into it too.
I saw Mystery had one day accurized round, snapshot, slide shot, range masterwork, and she had full choke.
Yeah, hang on to that
it's
shit.
God roll. I told her, it's like, don't you ever delete that thing, ever. Now, while it only hits consistently, I think at like 6 meters, it's still better than, unfortunately, one of my favorite shotguns, which is the 7th Seraph, shotgun.
Yeah.
Quick draw, I like the way they're tuning it. It's still going to work, but you're going to have a 1 second delay. Now that's going to drive people to say quick draw snapshot.
Yep.
Which is my favorite combo, which I have on hand cannons, shotguns, everything. That's my favorite combo. So I'm not too concerned about it, honestly. But would I say it's warranted to take it off of Fellwinter's and Astral? I'm going to say no.
Yeah,
that's just my opinion.
I'm going to agree. And I think the underlying issue with Fellwinter's will always come back to shot package. And in case any of you don't know how shotguns work, basically within your reticle circle, you're going to have a pellet spread, and it's random every single time it's fired, except for Fellwinter's, in which it has the exact same pattern of spread every single time, and that's why it feels so consistent, because there is no randomization in that shotgun.
Right.
And I think unless they do something about that, Fellwinter's will continue to be amazing, especially with surplus. And it hurts me to say that my Astral will be getting changed because I have the God roll from Season of Dawn, and it hurts me. But it is what it is. So I just swap back to my 7th Seraph when I need it.
I had a retold tell that I recently got with quick draw. It wasn't max range, but it was damn near close to max range.
Yeah.
So I said, while I'm doing all this testing, that's when I thought about the botheration, is when I was in there testing my retold. Retold tell with damn near max range was hitting consistently at 6.5 meters. That is it. But you have a blue shotgun that can hit at 8 meters consistently, basically 8 meters. So what am I going to use? I'm going to use the blue because I'm a Dragon Shadow user. All that extra, it's faster than quick draw. It's faster than snapshot. So me using Dragon Shadow, I'm cool. I'm chilling, but not everybody does that. I would say you as a warlock, what do you have? Ophidian aspects?
Yeah, I mean, Ophidians are nice, absolutely, but if you're going to use anything in PvP, you want movement.
Transversive steps.
Transversives.
Yes, sir. So we covered quick draw. What was the other one that you said?
120 RPM.
120 RPM.
And we can cover this pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's like I said earlier. I feel it was a warranted nerf. It's not an extreme nerf. It's not too much. It's not too little.
Yep. Basically, the range is getting halved from the previous buff.
So do you think that will change anything?
I think 120 users will have to adjust a little bit, but I think in the longer or wider scheme of things, it won't make that big of a difference. So, yeah.
I see high impact pulses are going to take a little more step forward. A V-wing, cold denial. What was the one I was just talking about the other day? It's a 3 burst. I thought it was a 4 burst. It was only a 3 burst.
I mean, you have
V-wing, which is a 5 burst. You have the cold denial, and then The messenger.
Obviously, you have the messenger, and then you have the one from
Which I have
Garden of
great
Salvation.
Yes, the Garden of Salvation one. The messenger to me, I'm not a big high impact pulse rifle. I love the bygones when that was meta.
Yep.
But the high impacts are just kind of wonky to me. I'd rather just run a little closer, use a 120 or even Pally. Pally's very good in the hands of a controller. I don't have the best roll, but I have a decent roll, and it can hang in those mid ranges. It can definitely hang.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, that basically covers all the topics. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on the show?
I mean, I was gonna say real quick, do you think Bungie is catering more towards casuals? Because the people that come in are casual and they spend the money. Do you think they're tired of the elitist and the veterans being here complaining like we're doing? And they're just like, we just want the new people to come in and spend money because it does keep the game alive. I'm not saying casuals are bad for the game. They're not. They keep it up. That's who supports it.
Neither. I don't think they really know what they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're in a spot where you want to please the players that have been around the longest, but there's no real way to do that and also allow the new players to feel powerful. And that's the most important thing. You let those new players feel powerful, and they'll stick around. And it is what it is. It's the problem with these live service games is they tend to become so bloated that the priorities have to fall somewhere. And more often than not, and even one of my favorite games, Warframe, they struggle with it too.
Never played much Warframe.
It happens with any live service game, especially with looters. It's going to be difficult.
Wow.
So yeah, no, I don't have anything else to really discuss. Are you good?
Not this week. I don't. I have other ideas for other episodes, but
Okay.
I would like to thank everyone who came in chat, and you all brought up some good points. We would love to see you back again the next time we're streaming this.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate all the interaction. And if any of you guys have questions or topics that you want us to touch on in future episodes, let us know in the Discord. Yeah. We'll keep track of all that.
Or comment after this is over. Say, hey, this is what we want to hear about. We're here for you guys. I know when crossplay comes, I get to challenge someone that I feel is better than me. Arctic. So I'm very excited about crossplay.
Yep, absolutely.
I can get back with my Xbox buddies. My Xbox is fried, unfortunately. But yeah, to tell them, hey, these guys actually listen to us, and like I said, we're here for y'all. Whatever y'all want to ask in chat, ask about PvP, and we will do our damnedest to answer it for you. I'm a PvP trainer on our PC side in Bulletheads. If you ever just need help, if you're watching and you're not
on Xbox.
Yeah, and Xbox. If you're not a part of a clan, you come to join Bulletheads. We have great PvP trainers, raid trainers, Sherpas. It's a very elaborate system, and we keep the toxicity out.
Yep. So and you can go to bulletheads.org to find out more about us, and you can probably find our recruitment posts on bungie.net/forums. So thank you to everyone that tuned in Bulletheads, and thank you so much to Slayton and Kaiju Labs for providing us an outlook or an outlet to talk about the things that we want to talk about. Yep. And with that, I think we're good. Thank you so much, all of you.